Is the Varghulf any good? This one monster for the vampire accounts fills so many potential roles, I had to narrow it down or this intro would go on forever. I settled on this. Terrifying Tenderizer. Stay tuned for the rest. Please like, subscribe, comment, and consider donating to my Ko-Fi page. I want to be a big YouTuber, and that tubing won't happen without you, hence the name. The Varghulf is recruited for 1400 gold base and costs the weighty sum of 350 gold per turn for upkeep. Clearly, it is a hungry, single-entity monster. Health is 8,248 on Ultra with 40 armor, which is not paper but also not high. Leadership is 45, which is also not that high. Speed 80 is pretty high, and keep in mind this monster does not fly, so this is running speed. Melee attack is 50 with an attack interval of 2.9! Now this is the lowest attack interval I think I've seen in the entire game, and I thought Scarbrand's was low. So yeah, this is amazing. Splash size is medium, and maximum number of targets damaged is 6, which means it's not as disruptive as some, but will do a pretty decent job actually killing infantry up close. Melee defense is 42, which is far from terrible, but which will look insufficient if surrounded, and more to the point, once the creature gets tired. Weapon strength is 290, which I'm sure must seem very low until you account for the insanely low attack interval. Base damage is 85, and armor piercing is 205, so the ratio is pretty healthy in favor of armor penetration. It'll just do even more against squishy mages. Charge bonus is 50, entirely reasonable, and mass is 2700, or significantly more than a Terrorgeist. I guess it's just that thin and gaunt. This undead monster is a siege attacker, inflicts fear and terror, and rather than general regeneration, the Varghulf has the Hunger, replenishing hit points 0.1% per second so long as it is considered to be in melee combat. So kicking around a single model of a swordsman unit is sufficient to keep this up. See, I told you, hungry critter. In the Vampire Lord Redline skills, Creatures of the Night works here too, offering plus 12% weapon strength and plus 12 flat charge bonus. Since it doesn't fly, rank 7 vets take advantage of Deadly Power, offering plus 5 melee attack, another plus 12% weapon strength, and 10% physical resistance. Remember, it has only 40 armor? 10% physical resistance is a huge benefit. In the tech tree, Beastmaster. Yeah, I watched the first film. Unlocks upkeep and recruitment cost down by 10%, increasing availability, and fresh prey supply grants Varghulf units plus 10 armor and plus 5% weapon strength. A small but impactful buff that just adds a cherry on top of the icing. 50 armor and 10% physical resistance on an 80 speed unit with regeneration in melee is pretty decent. So how do you use a Varghulf? It's almost a question of how not to use it. That's how much you can do with it. It serves as a Lord and Hero Hunter, a single-entity monster hunter, a cavalry mauler, a mid to high tier infantry meat grinder, a crasher of lines, a crasher of missile units, a fear and terror inflictor. But like I said, terrorizing Tenderizer covers most of it. What can't it do? Fly. Sometimes that's an advantage, and flying just exposes you to fire you wouldn't take crashing through a forest. It's also not a chariot. It's not going to do anywhere near the kind of impact on braced infantry that a chariot would do. And any kind of unit with charge defense versus large is going to blunt its best initial blow. More to the point, it's furious, but also a little soft, so poking it with long pointy things tends to be successful. I always compare a unit like this to a ticking time bomb in melee. Isolated, the low leadership will get it to crumbling in no time. So at minimum, you want heroes with it, your lord if possible. Having said that, the Varghulf can be one of your more powerful mobile units, a strike force trained to home in on the target you designate, and wail upon it. So long as you pick your targets well, especially artillery, squishy heroes, the Varghulf will have a good time, and come out just as healthy, and sometimes more, than when he started. These are the absolute basics. More advanced strategies rely on use of magic and other units, like your better infantry anvils, the ones penny pinchers told you to leave in the grave, or cavalry, same deal, or maybe just providing the raw muscle behind a unit of bats or wolves in the midst of shredding a bunch of Empire archers. The point is, Many factions lack this kind of fast monster that is, let's be fair, still in the middle of the pack for cost. In other words, unless it's literally your only one at the start of a campaign, and to an extent, even then, you can afford to be aggressive with it in mindset. Just don't literally abandon it, and it'll do some real work for you. Final point number 1. Once you're able to field more than one of these at the same time, you'll open up a whole new layer of tactics. Final point number 2. These are sponges for magic. Healing obviously lets them get health back without being in the middle of the front line, something they will greatly benefit from. As single entities, they won't care about a big AoE spell blast and past. Finally, a Danse Macabre or anything else to temporarily boost battle performance is all the more valuable because of that insanely fast attack speed. You get more bang for the number of seconds of duration than other units. Take care, and have fun mauling your opponents with Claw and Fang. Don't knock the simplicity. For the Varghulf, it just works.